Hi and welcome to another one of my videos. So if you've been following me for a while, basically since October 2025 or before that even, you know that I have been trying to lose fat. I've been trying to get lean, and most of all, I've been trying to get rid of my visceral fat. In case you do not know what visceral fat is the fat that is stored around organs like the liver, pancreas, and intestines. And unlike subcutaneous fat, which is underneath your skin, so between your muscle and your skin, visceral fat lies underneath your abdominal muscles. Excess visceral fat can lead to inflammation, but also insulin resistance and risks of disease. Basically, in October 2025, I did an InBody scan in my gym at Powerhouse Gym Miami. This is the second time that I had done one of those scans. It's basically one where you stand on a scale, you hold little handles, and they send electric signals through your body, and they can give you some indication of your fat mass, your muscle mass, your visceral fat, and of course your weight. So it's very, very interesting. I always tend to take these results with a little grain of salt because they're never super accurate, but it does give a good indication. And of course, if you have certain goals and you see the numbers slowly shift towards your goals, it's just a little bit more of an insightful way to look at your progress, more so than just weighing yourself. So it's interesting. Anyway, one of the things that was said to me in October 2025 when I did that InBody scan at Powerhouse was that I have a visceral fat level that was on the higher end of the scale and that I should aim to bring that down. Now, that actually wasn't the first time that I'd heard that. The first time that I did one of those body scans was way back in Amsterdam, so it was actually in September 2022. And then also the guy who was doing my body scan said that I should try to lower my visceral fat levels. So hearing that in October 2025 still sort of lit a fire under my butt, and I just wanted to get rid of that visceral fat. So ever since then, I've been doing some things to try to get rid of that visceral fat. Long story short, I was eating in a calorie deficit.
Hello there.
Hi, little side note. I'm editing this video right now and I realized that I also forgot to mention that I was eating lower carb. Not super low carb and not keto, like not anything like that extreme, but I read somewhere that eating lower carb would help with using your visceral fat for fuel. Don't quote me on that. This is just me Googling. But in doing that, I did realize that it's way easier for me to maintain a calorie deficit eating higher fat, lower carb. My meals just feel more satisfying to me. I get hungry less fast as when I eat more carb and lower fat. I think it just personally for me works very well to eat higher fat, lower carb as a way to stay in a deficit. I know people say that fats are a great place to cut calories because they are so high in calories. So 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, whereas 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories. So I do see that, but for me personally, doing this, I found out that I just feel a lot better if I eat higher fat, lower carb. So I don't know if it actually helped me burn visceral fat or whatever, but it did make it easier for me to stay in a calorie deficit, and that in the end is also needed to lose fat and also visceral fat. So yeah, okay. Roll the tape. Still making sure I eat enough protein, enough fiber, vegetables, fruits, stuff like that. Also, mainly eating 3 big meals and not snacking and grazing throughout the whole day, because apparently it was better to give your digestive system a little bit of a break between meals so that you can actually digest your meals before you're eating something else. Also, trying to have a bigger fasting window overnight. Not super big. I didn't do intermittent fasting or anything like that, but I did try to adhere to a 12-hour eating window, which basically means having breakfast at 7 and then finishing dinner before 7. So absolutely not anything crazy, but that again just gives your digestive system a little bit of a break to really digest all your food before you eat breakfast again. Also, side note, not eating dinner too late is great for your sleep. So that was nice. There was one point where I heard that drinking green tea would be helpful. I don't know how backed by science that is, but I love green tea, so I started drinking a little bit more green tea. That was basically it. And then came a point where I was super curious to see how much visceral fat I actually had. So I decided to schedule a Dexa scan. I'm doing something today that I definitely don't do every day. I'm gonna get a Dexa scan done. If you don't know, a Dexa scan is like a sort of X-ray And with this Dexa scan, they're able to tell you your bone density, your muscle mass, your fat mass, also your visceral fat mass, which is actually the main reason that I'm so interested in getting a Dexa scan done. So yeah, I've been trying to get rid of my visceral fat. I don't think it's gone. I think it's still there, but I have for sure lost fat, and I'm sure a little bit of visceral fat as well. So anyway, long story short, I'm very excited to get my Dexa scan done this afternoon and hopefully see that it has decreased, but who knows? At least it's gonna be super interesting. I'm very curious. I hope to see that my bones are strong. I hope to see that I have a lot of muscle mass, and I'm hoping to see that my visceral fat is not as high as it was in October. But again, I don't know how accurate that was, so I'm at least excited to get like a good starting point for how my visceral fat is now. It's finally time. Let's go. Get an iced latte, please. So I made it home. That was super cool and interesting. It took like 6 minutes, like it was quick. It was super quick. So cool to see my own skeleton. It was so crazy. And she printed out the results for me. Then I treated myself to a coffee at Studio 24. I sat there for a while looking at the results and also Googling a bunch because honestly, I'm not well versed when it comes to Dexa scan results. But it was super fun to see my skeleton. And then also to see where I store my fat. So interesting, look at this. I was most curious about visceral fat, obviously, like we talked about. And I think I have some good news. So this is pretty straightforward. My total body fat percentage is 25.2%. It's not exactly where I want to be. I would like to be a little leaner, but it's not bad at all. And I think that was about what I would estimate myself as. Maybe I would have estimated myself to be a little leaner because I think I estimated myself to be 25.2% in the past, and I'm definitely like basically the leanest I've been ever, at least with this amount of muscle. Okay, so in October, supposedly it was 26.1. Okay, so that would mean I have lost 1% body fat, which wouldn't be crazy. I think that might be right. I don't know. I am leaner now than I was then. Maybe I can do a little comparison. Me then versus me now. Do we see a difference? And then this is what we were interested in, the visceral fat. And it says that my estimated VAT mass in grams is 275 and the square centimeters is 56.9. With a little bit of Googling, I found out that your VAT area in square centimeters is supposed to be below 100. And mine is 56.9, so basically 57. But, so that's great. Like that's a little over half of 100. Like it's not near 100, so that's great. I'm so excited about that. I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about, but either way, it seems to me that I'm in the clear. I'm at least not in a danger zone when it comes to visceral fat. So that's super nice and so relieving? I am so relieved, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, I think that's everything that's of interest. Okay, aren't you so relieved? I am. So after I'd learned from the Dexa scan that my visceral fat was actually basically fine, I was very curious to do another InBody scan at Powerhouse to see what that would say regarding my visceral fat. So would that still say that I had a high level of visceral fat, or did I actually lose all my visceral fat in that time period? And would that marker now also be low? You know what I mean? So on this new InBody scan that I did on the 4th of June, so 3 days after my Dexa scan, it actually said that my visceral fat level was 7, when way back in October 2025, my visceral fat level was 8. So it did go down. It was still a little high, but this time around, the guy helping me with the body scan said I was totally fine. I definitely didn't want it to get higher than this, but also if it would stay this, it was absolutely fine. And I was in no way in need to stress about it. So that was such a relief. I just decided that for me, especially because the Dexa scan said that I was completely in the clear, I would now let it go and stop stressing about it, because honestly, I think the stress I had about it might have been worse to my health than the visceral fat that I had. And in case you're curious, the Dexa scan said that my body fat percentage was 25.2, and the InBody scan that I did 3 days later said that my body fat percentage was 23.2. So 2% less than what Dexa scan said. So again, these InBody scans don't tend to be super accurate, but of course, if you want to lose fat and you see the fat percentage on the InBody scans go down, it might not be accurate, but you still see it trending in the right direction, and that's what you want anyway. So it's a good indication of how your progress is going. It was also nice to see that my body fat percentage in October 2025 was 26.1 according to the InBody scan. So if it's always 2% off, it might have actually been 28% body fat. But either way we see this trend go down, and that's what I wanted. So, and then very recently I decided to do another InBody scan just to see how my progress is going, because even though I'm no longer worried about my visceral fat, I still want to get lean and shredded and look very muscular. Those are my body goals. So I did another InBody scan at Powerhouse, and what was interesting about this one is that we already planned it during the previous one, so I knew it was coming, and I also knew that I had not been on track with my food as well as I had planned to be. Also, I missed about a week and a half of workouts because I was sick, and I told the guy who was helping me, honestly, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of difference. I just wanna do this as a little check-in to see where we're at now, because the weight on the scale that I used at home also had not changed. Basically stayed the same, and I thought, okay, it's because I'm not as locked in as I was previously, and that's fine. You know, shit happens. It motivated me even more so to get back on it now that I was feeling better again. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna see this as a little check-in. We'll get back on the horse, and then we'll keep going. But then what actually turned out had happened is that my body fat percentage went down again. So now it said that I was 21.6. Again, according to the InBody scan, could very well be that it's 2% off again. But in any case, we're seeing the trend go down. Boop, 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 boop. So we're going in the right direction. So I didn't really see a difference on the scale, but on the InBody scan, as you can see, the trend is going down. And as you might have noticed, my skeletal muscle mass are trending up. It showed that I basically weigh the same because my fat went down, but my muscle mass went up. So I don't know, I think that was fun to share because it just goes to show that weight truly does not tell you everything. So it's also important to sort of look in the mirror, but then mirrors can also be a little weird because your mind can play tricks on you. You know, one day you feel like you're very muscular, the other day you feel like you don't have any muscle and you're wasting away. At least that's my personal experience. So this is just really nice to have some data. I love data. So yeah, I even filmed a little body update clip recently, 2 days ago, so that we could maybe compare it to some clips that I actually have still from October, so that maybe we can see some difference. I thought that would be fun. Good morning. It's July 11th, and I thought it would be nice to film a little physique update. I haven't eaten. I'm very tired. And this is what I'm currently looking like. This morning I weighed 69.2 kilos. Okay. very quickly, what are my goals now? I'm no longer stressed about visceral fat, which is nice. I still do want to lose some fat. I just thought it would be cool to actually be lean and try to maintain that as long as that's healthy for me. Like, that would be nice. Yeah, I hope then I will actually look super lean and swole, which is my goal. So I'm very excited about that. Other than that, I'm still trying to get even stronger in the gym, grow a lot of muscle. Yeah, so if you want to see like the kind of workouts I'm doing, the kinds of things I'm eating, make sure to subscribe because I have a lot of videos on the schedule that I'm excited to film. And also please let me know what kind of videos you would like to see. If there's anything specific that you're interested in, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments as well. That's basically it. I don't know if I'll make another one of these videos talking all about it, but maybe I can incorporate the next results in like a what I eat in a day or a gym vlog or whatever. Let me know what you think. And that's gonna be it for this video. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I thought it was very insightful and interesting. And maybe if you have a gym where you have access to one of these scans, you know that it might be a little inaccurate or it might be off a couple percentages, but you can still use it to sort of see the trend. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you're not already, please consider subscribing. That way you get to stay up to date on my future uploads. It really helps me out and it does mean a lot to me. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!